So today I'm going to be teaching long division using the equation 343 divided by 5. So 343 is going to be our dividend, 5 is going to be our divisor, and then the answer that we get will be the quotient. So first thing to do in order to set up long division is you'll place the 5 on the outside, and then the 343 on the inside right here. And then the first step in long division will be to first check to see how many times 5 goes into 3, and since that is 0 times, you'll put a 0 directly above the 3, and then you'll do 5 times 0, which gives you 0, and then do 3 minus 0, which gives you 3, and then you're going to want to drop down this 4 to create 34. And then the next step would be see how many times 5 goes into 34, and that would be 6 times. And so then you would do 5 times 6, which gives you 30. And then 34 minus 30 equals 4. And then you're going to drop this 3 down to make 43. And then you want to check how many times 5 goes into 43, which would be 8 times. And then you do 5 times 8, which equals 40. And then you subtract the remainder of 3. And since we have nothing to drop down and 5 does not go into 3, that would mean that we have a remainder of 3. So our quotient of the problem would be 68 remainder of 3. So that was just the procedural aspect of long division. Now, using base 10 blocks, I'll explain kind of what is actually happening in this equation step by step here. So 343, our dividend, is essentially 3 100ths four tenths, and 3 ones. So here we have our dividend, our dividend, and then 5 is our divisor, or in this case, we're going to look at it as our number of groups. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a really important thing to remember here is that each of these are going to be equal groups. So we have to have equal amounts of our base 10 blocks in each groups. So looking at this first step, we looked at 5 goes into 3 how many times, and that's 0. So what this translates to over here is, can we put a 100 block into each group so that way they're equal? And since we have 3, we cannot divide them equally. So what we did was we dropped the 4 down, which really turned it into 34 tens. So we'll regroup these 3 100ths into 30 tens plus the 4 others. Alright, and then the next step we looked at was how many times 5 goes into 34. So how many tens can we put in each group evenly? And so we came up with the answer of 6. So we have 5 groups of 6, so that would be equal to 30 that we placed in each group. And so that leaves us with 4. And so the next step, so we do 34 minus 30, the 34 minus the 30, and that leaves us with these 4. And so we drop down the 3 to regroup these 4 10s into 40 ones plus the 3 others. Okay, so here we have 40 ones plus these 3 ones to get us our 43 ones. So the next step is determine how many ones we can place in each group evenly. And so we came up with the number 8 evenly for each group. So these 8 in each group would be equivalent to this 40 right here, which we see right here. And so since we have nothing else, since we're not going smaller than the ones group, we have this remainder of 3. Since we cannot divide those evenly among these 5, we count up the answer of one of the groups. So that would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to give us our answer of 68. And then we also have this remainder of 3. So since we have 5 groups, each with 68, that's equivalent to 68 times 5, plus this remainder of 3 that we cannot split evenly, to give us our original dividend of 340